Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, pilot into the University of Chinese. Let's continue review of this week's shelter, this mian covered with the chimney, radical related Chinese characters. And we open with constitution, a big concept. We have xian means first underneath it. And the whole thing pronounced as xian. Well, if you look at 2,000 years ago's version, it's nothing look like the first concept. We actually have this harm imagery on the top, the eye symbol on the middle, in the middle, and then the heart. So we have emotional processing right after we observe something that's harmful, as the constitution. And for me, I imagine it to be ancient rulers, to lay out the consequences of something you cannot do and the consequences of harm here, to make sure people see it and they are going to comply, process it in your heart. And the whole rule-making or law-making process was under the roof, not just a regular roof. It's the palace, the power center. Kind of today, we refer to the power center with a capital name. So ancient times, we refer to power center, wherever has the power of lawmaking, of equivalent of today's constitution. Of course, it does not come from everyday people, but from the ruler, the top ruler, to decide how to run the country. Then the whole replacement in the middle, that's the Chinese version, use this particular roof or shelter to symbolize the power center. Okay, ji, silent, and this character is it's almost Zenish. Whenever I see this character, I have this almost like a calming effect on me, because it not only talking about a silent, of no human voice kind of silent, nobody say anything, but it's also your internal voice gets silenced. You get into this, I guess, meditative mindset. Okay, and you can see ancient version looks almost like, except the contemporary one add this hand symbol over there. And the whole thing in contemporary version is the younger sibling of your dad, shu, pronounced as shu. And this is ancient food processing the beans. And I really imagine, okay, if this is younger sibling of your dad, your uncle, was doing this food preparation step under the roof. So that's a household, everyday life scene. That's probably like nobody talking. We can only fill the blank as such. And so food processing back then, under every household, is a collective, like a small village, right? And all the siblings, kids were assigned to different roles. And so this food processing by a younger uncle probably carry out in silence. So it's connected to silence. 即 male had this ancient version of, instead of the big symbol as a contemporary Chinese, make it look like it's actually exiting or leaving symbol. Particularly, I imagine, and this is my total imagination or theorization of ancient times living semi-underground. So it's almost like a grave, right? Cave/grave situation, because we didn't have the technology to set up self-standing architecture to house people yet, at least for everyday people, right? So people living underground, and to climb out of there, I guess ancient times probably stairs were not invented as well. So people have to use their hands and feet to scale up, to push themselves out vertically, climb out of that underground cave/grave. That's totally my theory. I don't know if that's true. It looks like that, definitely. So it's almost like a parkour, ancient version. And then that leaving At the bottom is the gasping. We have the mouth symbol and a puff of air sending up to heaven. And this, gasping or finding something in nature in awe. Therefore, this person wants to leave the human shelter to go out and explore. And that's the ancient sense of odd or awe or unusual. It's not every day. You see something that make you gasp and you want to go out and chase after it. Something like that. And it was borrowed to, in one of the many contexts, it's to male. Because here, originally it means it's unusual living condition that you're sending something away. So carried by this leaving your home action, that you're sending the message away here, applied on the male. So that's male. All right. And then we have this yu, lodge. And this character is roofing over a long-tailed monkey that was said to have this ghost head. That's kind of look like humans, but not exactly humans. And that guest monkey in a house then developed this meaning of lodge, meaning this is not where the monkey belongs. It only temporarily living here. So that's the lodge. And we see how it abstracts the tail. Instead of this soft, continuous hook thing, it actually separated into 3 strokes as a standardization to make some capture the weird shape. We broke it into parts that's easier to write. Zhai, this residence, at the same time, it's not a monkey, it's a plant underneath the roof. That symbolizes you settle down, you put your root down. And here, the ripening, that we saw it on He, this crop imagery, it's almost a simplified plant life cycle, growing from underground, find its way, grow up ground, and have some seeds in there. And this almost like using the plant to symbolize life cycle of humans. You were born here, break the ground to stand on your own, start your own household, and then you're bearing seed, giving birth to the next generation. That under the roof, the whole process housed under that roof, and that place, that roofing place would be your residence. And we can see how Chinese contemporary kind of change the direction of the seed growing, turning into a hook. And also this ground kind of diagonalized so that we don't see it, the ground breaking as well, and have the top, instead of bending on one side, which is harder to write, completely at the whole stroke to cover the top, as if it's a cover, a slanted hat thing. All right, the last one is jia hong. If you start to learn Chinese, this is probably one of the, I don't know, first or second year vocabulary, because home, right, is a common concept of everyday. But Chinese construct the home concept is interesting. It has a pig underneath the shi. Like we don't use this pig as on its own that much in our contemporary Chinese because we have zhu, but shi, pig under the shelter, that signifies the food security, because ancient times, every household have to grow their own food. Either you grow your own farm, you have this garden or farm that you can harvest and eat, but for protein, for meat source, pig farm was, I guess, the major protein source back then. So we have once you see, not only the crops is out there, but under the roof, under your property, your private space, you have the pig there. And I'm not sure if like a pig actually lived under the same roof as humans. That would be weird, right? But pig symbolizing food security, protein specifically, under the roof. And that's home concept. And we can see, compare to the ancient version, this pig, this tail of the pig, just draping down, right? because you have to make a band of there. You see the contemporary Chinese break it into 2 strokes and almost like a bow tied behind. It lost its original, this tail imagery. It became like almost like a little wind thing. So there were some transformations of all these Chinese characters to make it easier to write. Okay, let me go over the whole class or cohort of this week. 谢, 记, 记. Again, okay, exact the same pronunciation. 玉, 宅, 家. And point out this replacement of the whole thing, same sound, but totally lost its original meaning. And here is added the hand symbol. And here is look-alike symbol, but lost its original meaning of leaving home or exiting. And here is the monkey tail, broken down into 3 strokes. And here is the plant that's like we uneven the earth, either the ground, and change the direction of how the seed would grow. And here we add extra stroke on the top instead of this draping down tail of a pig. You got something extra there. So all this make your eyes easily to capture, but it lost its original meaning, like how these imageries can tell the whole this original story and why it mapped to the meaning of today. And like I said in this male concept, it was only mapped to male when this character, simplified Chinese version, happened to concur with a lot of male going on. And nowadays we kind of a post male age when we use email or even other electrical, on your phone apps, right? You want to communicate with somebody, it's so easy. No, I shouldn't say nobody, because for legal documents still you have to mail it, but we call it a snail mail these days. And so I would imagine all these Chinese characters are probably going to adapt to newer versions or realities or the worlds we keep constantly upgrading, refreshing, changing. And these are just contemporary, a snapshot, and probably in the future, what a home would look like, right? What it means to mail, to send away from home, what it means to be silent, and the Constitution, all that could change. And so here, from Constitution to home, I don't know why I put in this imagery, but it could be a temporary home. I'm not sure if it's more like a lodge thing instead of a home. All right, thank you for your time. See you another week.